The Babylon Bee Podcast.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Babylon Bee Podcast, the only podcast that talks about the news. I'm Kyle Mann, the editor-in-chief of the Babylon Bee, and I'm here with Jarrett Lemaster, our video producer.
Hi guys, how you doing?
And Travis.
I'm a renowned coffee drinker, Travis.
Last time someone commented that we didn't ever say what you did.
Now we know.
So I'm just going to always introduce you, and there's Travis. Everybody else gets an elaborate title.
That's always the kind of sad part. It's like, what does he do? Like, I guess you only watch the podcast then?
Yeah, you don't know anything else. So everybody, we made a movie, and it's coming out in 1 week.
Woo!
October 11th. It's
January 6th, the most deadliest day.
as you can see on Travis's t-shirt here.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
6, the most
Behold.
deadliest day.
I got my t-shirt a couple of days ago and I wore it the last couple of days. I was planning on wearing it today, but by the time I put it on this morning, it was pretty rank.
Yeah, I did notice you wore it a few times in a row, and I was like,
I was proud. Well, I put it on when I got it at the
Watch that
end
at
of
some
day on Monday, and then I wore it all day Tuesday. So that's kind of how,
Did you
it
spill
was
coffee all over it? Is that what happened?
technically one full day. No, I just smell bad. So.
TMI, but I accidentally sneezed coffee out my nose yesterday. And it was the worst experience of my life.
Really?
Oh, it's so painful.
Really?
Yeah.
like hot because it was hot?
Well,
or-
it wasn't hot, but it was warm, It really brought things down. I'm sorry.
If you guys want to
so funny.
see a movie made by these three creative minds
It's very smart.
and the rest of the team at the Babylon Bee, go to babylonbee.com/January 6th. Use promo code podcast and you get a special discount, and you'll be the first to see the movie when it comes out on October 11th. In about 1 week, we need you guys to sign up so we can make more movies and conquer the world. It's going to be a lot of fun. Very excited about it.
Yeah, I would actually
moment
like
for
it
us.
if we could make more movies. Like, I think
want to.
it was a lot of fun.
But only 3 people have signed up so far.
so they're going to be very cheap movies.
Please do.
Yeah,
If you have any money, just give it.
Please.
Please just give it to us.
please help.
Hey,
Please.
on a more serious note, the Babylon Bee, with the help of Alliance Defending Freedom, is suing the state of California. Governor Gavin Newsom signed a bill outlawing deepfake AI-generated content. You may have seen this. He shared a video of Kamala Harris that was done with AI and said, this should be illegal. And then he said, you know what? I'm going to make it illegal. I will make it illegal. And he went ahead and signed some bills, 2 different bills that affected AI content, such as parody. And it both says those things are illegal and that people have to, the people have the right to sue over them if they get fooled, and that big tech has a responsibility to take them down. And it also requires that parody and satire content be clearly labeled. So basically, if we made a funny video, we have to put like labels all over it. This is fake. Don't be fooled. Messages coming up all over the video and subtitled all over the video. It would ruin the humor. So not good.
Yeah.
We actually released this ad about Gavin Newsom that you can watch right now.
Hi, I'm Gavin Newsom, the governor of California. This is a message for the people of America, given in my authentically recorded, non-AI voice. Thanks to my leadership over the last several years, California has become a world leader in extremist, left-wing governance. My policies were so effective that almost 1 million people are now fleeing the state every year. We even ran out of U-Hauls. During the COVID pandemic, I locked everyone in their homes and shut down businesses for months. Not the French Laundry, though. That's my favorite restaurant. Last year, I cleaned up the dangerous, messy streets of San Francisco, because Chinese Communist President Xi was coming, and I really wanted to impress him. He's my boss, after all. This year, I signed legislation that allows me to take custody of your kid if you refuse to give him artificial hormones and chop off his genitals. Because if you don't do that, you're a bigot, and bigots shouldn't be allowed to have kids. I've also led the way in green energy by banning all cars that don't run on electricity. Then I banned almost all the electricity. This is smart leadership. On my watch, the cost of living and homelessness have skyrocketed. Schools are failing. Drug dealers and human traffickers are pouring across the border. And poop has covered the sidewalks of San Francisco. This is the positive, joyful vision we offer as Democrats. That's why I'm enthusiastically endorsing Kamala Harris for president in 2024. She'll do to the country everything I did in California. Anyway, I'm California Governor Gavin Newsom, and I approve this 100% real message, which is a recording of my voice without the assistance of any AI whatsoever. This isn't a deep fake, and you can rest assured that it isn't, because I just signed an unconstitutional law outlawing deep fakes. No one would dare violate it. Thank you, and science bless America.
No, that was cool.
amazing.
Very real. 100% real.
Yeah. I like how similar the voice is.
Well, it's because it's real.
Oh,
Yeah. Similar to itself. I don't understand.
actually, my favorite part of the video is when he goes, "No one would dare."
Yeah, because they wouldn't.
My favorite part
Nobody.
is how he pronounces poop.
Poop on the street.
Poop.
Poop on the street.
So our CEO, Seth Dillon, said Babylon Bee's content requires that we engage in satire where we're adopting a voice and a viewpoint and using that to mock and ridicule a subject. And this law in particular affects content creators, specifically satirists and people doing parody, by requiring them to put disclaimers to let you know that this is parody that you're reading right now, which completely stifles and kills the joke. It disrupts our ability to do what we do, the way that we do it, and the voice that we do it in. And so that's very problematic for us. If we're unable to publish satire without putting disclaimers all over it, and we're going to face potential penalties if we don't do that, then this is a very serious issue. So we're fighting back in every way that we can against laws that clamp down on speech. This isn't the first time that we've filed a lawsuit, joined a lawsuit, written those, what are those things called?
Affidavits.
No, what was the one we did for the Supreme Court?
Letters.
Is it affidavit? No, it's not affidavit. What's the thing you
poems.
do?
Novels.
No, it's like a Latin word. Where's our Latin guy? Is the Latin intern still with
it's
us?
not an affidavit.
Filed a amicus brief.
Amicus brief. That's what I was
We
going to say.
filed an amicus brief with the Supreme Court before, and Seth has,
Affidavit is for like homeschool.
right. And Seth has testified in front of Congress about these kinds of issues. So we're constantly on the front lines fighting for your right to free speech and our right to tell jokes. Hey, you can support us, babylonbee.com/plans. Use code podcast.
Yeah.
And you can support our efforts in this area. So we'll keep you updated on the lawsuit against Governor Newsom. Hey, it's Kyle Mann for Tax Hardship Center. Do you owe the IRS more than $25,000 and wonder where you stand with them? Are they poised to levy your bank account or garnish your next paycheck? Were you aware that you can find out where you stand with the IRS without even talking to them? Everything is in the IRS transcripts. The transcripts can let you know if you're at risk of or safe from collection actions, like a bank levy or paycheck garnishment. It even tells you the exact date when your tax debt expires. But don't call them, because that just triggers their whole collection process. My friends at Tax Hardship Center are providing our listeners with a free tax report valued at $495 that shows all of this information without waking up the bear. So if you owe the IRS more than $25,000, take the first step and see if you qualify for tax relief. Tax Hardship Center has live professionals ready for your call. To claim your free tax report, call Tax Hardship Center at 844-775-1318, 844-775-1318, or visit taxhardshipcenter.com/Babylon-B.
You used to be good.
Adam Ford.
Adam Ford.
I really miss Adam Ford.
The first one is from Gavin
Newsom.
Governor Newsom.
Governor.
I killed
Gavin
that joke. I killed it.
Newsom.
All right, here's somebody replied to our newsletter that we sent out, and they said, "Who the
Flower bed.
do you think you are, sending me your
Flower bed.
brainwashing Nazi propaganda? You sick?
Flower bed.
Could put every single last one you Nazi
Flower bed.
in the ground where you belong."
Oh.
So this
That's
was just
kind of
in
more of
reply
like a-
to a newsletter?
Yeah, that just has our jokes on it.
Oh, it's the I also is this kind of is categorized as a death threat more than just hate mail.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we had a joke in there about Kamala letting in all the murderers, and so I think that's why he was mad.
The Murderers Express lane, which I got somebody.
And some of the murderers, I assume, are good people.
There's very good people on both sides of the immigrant murder issue.
The murder issue.
Side note, U.S. Immigrations and Customs Enforcement admitted last week that the Biden-Harris admin let in known murderers and rapists and let them run wild. How many? They said more than 13,000 murderers and 15,000 rapists who are known convicts.
And that's just the ones they know about.
And in summary, they raping everybody out here.
They're raping everybody out here. That's a good response. Man, it's been a long time since I've seen that.
It's
We should watch that video right now.
I might get copyright strike.
They're raping everybody
He's
out
probably
here.
copyrighted that by now.
That's right.
So I guess Trump said, they're not sending their best. That's not
Maybe he
Trump.
was right. all along.
Maybe they're right.
Yeah. Karine Jean-Pierre said that the data is being misrepresented,
Okay.
which,
Because they're reading it.
because you're reading it out loud.
Yeah. You're not supposed to read it.
Man, have you watched her a lot? She is something
Every
else.
time I close my eyes.
But only in the imagination.
Gross. So gross. Yeah, no. She's something. Like the way that she handles Peter Ducey, their interactions are some of my favorite things on the internet. Yeah.
It is fantastic.
It's wonderful. I wish that what's her name? Trump's press secretary was still in there.
He had
Which
3.
one? Kaylee or
Kaylee McEnany.
That's such a funny. Her name does not sound the way it looks.
Kaylee McEnany.
Like,
How
it's
come
like
how come we've never
McEnany.
interacted with her?
McEnany?
Kaylee McEnany.
It should be like
McEnany.
McNaney.
Let's keep saying her name.
You know,
McNaney.
McEnany.
C.S. Lewis had that philosophy that came through in some of his writings where it was like everything you do affects your character. Like it's not just, your heart change and then like your actions follow that, but it's also what you do is also feeding back in. So,
Yeah.
and I wonder if people like KJP, it's like every time they tell that lie or they have to lie for the administration. No, it's not that. Like to them, maybe it just feels like, it's my job. I got to spin stuff.
Yeah.
But every time you do that, you're just like hardening your heart and becoming like a worse and worse person.
Yeah, that's interesting that you say that because I used to have I guess I used to compartmentalize more where I'd be like, oh yeah, this is just work, so it's okay. Like there's an episode of Growing Pains with Kirk Cameron.
Was it a very special
Very
episode?
special.
Probably. So is when he's like, basically he's working at the equivalent of Circuit City, selling TVs, and he was using sleazy sales tactics like, oh, you want to get this TV. It's so great, blah, blah, blah. And then his dad comes in to buy a TV, and he goes, oh, don't get that one. It's terrible. But you just sold it to those people. Why would you do that? And I used to be like, it's his job, dummy. But now I kind of realize, no, you're agreeing to take on that fraudulent work, that puts you in a situation where you are lying
And
to
that
people.
sad like electric piano comes in.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like ashamed and they have the
Fades
conversation.
to commercial.
Yeah.
And later on.
It's
you
a
know,
fantastic
the
episode.
transition.
That's why Trump would not want me as press secretary, because they would say something and I'd be like, yeah, it doesn't look great, but here's what he meant.
Or you'd say like, you know what? Trump's wrong on this one.
Yeah.
I'm not going to mince words with you. He's wrong.
Yeah.
I generally think that he's the best choice for us right now in the two-party system.
Yeah.
But frankly, he really botched it.
Yeah.
He really screwed this one up, guys.
So
Hey, I'm
Trump,
just gonna admit
if you
it.
want me to do that, I'll do that.
I feel like actors do this all the time where they compartmentalize their life at work. And obviously, I mean, this is the obvious, example when people are making out with each other on screen and stuff. And it's really interesting when people decide not to do that or they try to get
'cause they
around
can't,
it.
Yeah, separate it. But
Yeah.
this is actually
You can't.
great sketch idea. Honest press secretary.
Oh, yeah.
Let's do it.
We should totally do it.
That's
but
a great
we
idea.
have to make sure there's a constant disclaimer saying parody in the
Yes.
corner, flashing the whole time.
We should have a Karine Jean-Pierre comes to Jesus moment where she just kind of like, guys, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We'd have to get her to do that.
Yeah.
I think like every 10 seconds in the video, you cut to like a robot voice that's like, this is parody. It's like, this is audible or like,
Yeah.
yeah.
And now back to the
It's
sketch.
parody.
Yeah.
Now
Back to
returning
the sketch.
to the parody sketch. All right, guys. Oh, someone's knocking on the door. It's the newspaper man.
Oh, hi, newspaper
hi.
man.
And he's delivering a fresh copy of the Babylon Bee.
Get
to
your
us.
papes here.
So
Wow.
here-
Get your papes. Just a nickel.
So,
Hey, Tim Walz.
so for our audio only listeners, there is no one here.
There's no newsies in the room.
it was okay. So here's this edition of the Babylon Bee. Our top story: school shooters distance themselves from Tim Walz. Oh, interesting. Yeah, Tim Walz actually last night at the debate said, "I'm friends with school shooters."
That was a weird thing to say.
I love this picture of him too. It may be the best picture.
The eyeballs.
It's amazing.
He looked like that the whole debate.
I don't know.
He looks like a Muppet.
Did you guys see Politico's? I don't know if this is in notes somewhere else, but did you guys see Politico's description of his expressions?
Yes.
And they said, like, actually, this shows vulnerability and passion.
Mm-hmm.
And then they showed J.D. Vance, and they circled his beard. And they said, this beard is actually quite aggressive and threatening towards
It's
feminist
It's
ideas.
an angular beard.
My goodness.
which is
Yeah,
fantastic.
they were trying to suggest that his eye popping wasn't because he was surprised or shocked. It was because he was passionate.
And then they said something about our early man developed this as a, it was like, I am close to danger.
Yes, you have to.
You mean like opening your eyes wider?
Yeah, it could.
Well,
it
yeah,
could-
it's a
it could
fight or
mean
flight.
You're close to danger.
It's for sure a fight or flight. So they're like saying that JD Vance is dangerous, and so
Something
he's afraid.
like that, I guess.
So he's like a little.
All right, we have
girl.
we have another headline here. Young Hezbollah recruit can't believe he's already made regional manager.
Wow,
It's a heartwarming,
It's
like local story.
He's like, man,
I love how happy
guys,
he is.
He's calling home.
For our audio only.
They already promoted me, guys. Like, I'm so excited. I must be doing such a good job.
I just got hired last
I
week.
just got hired last week. You're the regional manager.
Yeah, so as Kyle was about to say, for our audio only listeners, it's a fantastic looking college aged Arab wearing sunglasses, and he's just so happy standing in the Saharan desert.
He wants to
Yeah.
soak up the sun.
He's like, guys, look, I'm the regional manager.
It's like I'm living my best life. now.
Yeah, it's so good.
Oh man.
It's so good.
All right, another headline we got here. VeggieTales introduces new evil villain, Matt Squash.
That's so
Now,
good.
I advocated for calling him Matt Squash.
I feel
but nobody else.
Why
Squalsh?
why squalsh?
Because it's Walsh.
Because it's Matt
It's
Walsh.
parodying
Yeah.
Walsh.
I mean, it's Matt Squalsh.
And
That would be
I
so
know
funny.
it's bad. I know it's better to say the vegetables so it doesn't get confusing. But every time now I can only see Matt Squash.
Squalsh.
Which cracks
I think
me
it's
up.
genius. Yeah.
And it's a great Photoshop. Bettina did. Great job, Bettina.
Yeah.
good stuff.
Tom the tomato looks
yeah,
very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Phil Vischer.
Bob the tomato.
That's actually, his eyes are wider because he's near danger.
Yes, that's the fight.
no, it's because he's passionate.
He's passionate and near danger.
Phil Vischer has been attacking, the creator of VeggieTales, for those not in the know,
Yeah.
has been attacking Matt Walsh for his deceptive tactics.
With Am I a Racist? Yeah, they're kind of mad about it, right?
Yeah.
On their, what is it, Christians for Kamala's thing or their podcast or whatever?
I don't know what their podcast
I don't think
is.
their podcast is called Christians for
Well,
Him.
it's their
It's
podcast.
called The Holy Post.
The Holy Post. Yeah, so Phil Vischer's been talking about that. We had an interaction with Phil Vischer last year, like in February. We were at
We
this
promised
thing.
him we wouldn't tell anybody.
Yeah.
And here we are.
Did he say?
We briefly hung out with him.
Well, here's the thing. We had a great evening with Phil Vischer, and he saw us and he was like, "You hate me."
He's like, "Why do you hate me?"
We don't hate you.
I'm a
I'm
victim.
like, "Why do you hate me?"
I was like, just stop hanging out with, David French, and we'll be cool. But he's a great guy, really nice guy, but he's wrong about a lot of this stuff.
All right, it's time for Battle Box.
In America, we resolve our differences at the battle box. That's how we do it, at the battle box, not with bullets.
The battle box.
Who in the Battle Box this week is the segment where we put two things in a box and see which one lives. In the Battle Box this week, we're putting in JD Vance and Tim Walz. The debate seemed cordial and respectful. Many people are saying so.
Yeah,
I didn't watch a second of it, so
Oh,
because I'm smart.
I've watched a second of it. I watched a bit of it.
I listened to a good chunk of it on the radio actually because it started when I was in the car.
Did you gather the kids around the giant floor radio
Sure
and
did.
have your little cabbie hat and pipe?
Yeah, and I said, "Get your Ovaltine decoder ring, kids."
Yay!
Come on
We're
down.
gonna gather around the radio and listen to the debate.
Yeah. So my kids were very, very bored in the car because I'm just like, I'm listening to the debate. Rah. And then I get home and then I put it on TV. And they're like, okay.
It's even worse.
And then their big takeaway was JD Vance is wearing a pink tie and the other guy's the blue guy.
So they like the blue guy better?
No, I told them which one to like.
Oh, okay.
And they're like,
That's what I did to my
much
kids.
better.
yeah. Well, it's funny because they're like, which one do we like? We like JD Vance. Oh, he's doing a great job.
Yeah, isn't he doing great? Well, I guess the word on the street is that it was actually pretty respectful. And this is lowering the temperature in the political discourse with
Yeah.
the VPs. And everyone's been saying that, for the last couple of months that, JD Vance is weird. But it seems to me like he's pretty much proven that he, of these two guys, is
Pretty normal.
the not weird guy. Like, obviously. And I think you put them together.
Yeah,
yeah.
Tim Walz is a real garbage muffin, but from what I understand, but from
I
what
haven't heard. He's a real Matt Squalsh.
but from what I understand, they were at least actually arguing points.
Yeah, it was the most normal debate I've seen since maybe Bush Gore.
Romney or okay.
Since Reagan and the other guy.
I didn't see that one. Bush Gore was like my first debate.
So I was listening to playoff baseball on the radio because I have the app where I can watch the games. But once you hit playoffs, it doesn't work anymore. You have to have like cable, and I'm like, I don't have cable. I'm not. What year is this? But it was kind of interesting because I'm listening to it and listening to games on the radio, which I do sometimes. It just feels like a time machine. Like you remember that scene? It was in one of the Avengers movies, or maybe it's the first Captain America or whatever, when he wakes up at the end of the movie and and he's like listening to the game and he's like, "That's not right," because I listened to this game on the radio and
I remember every game I've ever listened to,
like or whatever. And it's like, well, it was like a World Series game or something. Yeah. But it's like a time machine. Like people have been listening to baseball. Baseball's made for radio. It's fantastic.
You know, I haven't done it. I haven't listened to baseball on the radio, but I mean, for a long time. But they always have the background noise too. So there's always, in addition, like there's always like the sound of the crowd, and you can hear everything there.
And Jake Cronenworth's coming up to the plate.
And
he's been hot.
He took a cut.
He's swinging a hot bat.
That's right. It was a slider to the outside.
And it's heading down to the deep left wall. He's back on the
through
warning track, and it's gone.
Oh, right
and
through that's like right through the wickets of Steve Harvey.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's Harvey. I don't know,
really
Harvey.
Surprising because he has 0 RBIs this season.
For our blind listeners, there is not an actual baseball broadcast going on. That was an impression.
That was
We were
just Kyle and
making
Jared.
that up.
Yeah.
Making that up as we went.
Oh, here's the
The eye popping.
the thing from here's the thing from Politico. It says eye popping can sometimes be a sign of surprise, but for Waltz, it simply revealed his emotional intensity.
So intense.
Early humans would have made such facial gestures to communicate strong emotions, like danger is close. For Waltz, it gave extra weight to his feelings and held our gaze.
There's two things happening. They are comparing him to an early human. So
that's true.
He's not quite as evolved as JD Vance, is what they're saying.
Well, I think the other funny thing about it is how they're phrasing it, that conveying danger is close is just, I need to have some emotional intensity with this. It's like, it's such a natural thing. Oh no, danger's here. That's
Well,
you guys said it.
I think JD, it's
I'm repeating
weird that
myself.
they're trying to spin it to where it's like, yeah, JD Vance was awesome. But Tim Walz was afraid of JD Vance as a person, not like getting schooled, not getting like spanked in this debate.
Gross.
Like that would be the thing that he's really afraid of.
Excited about.
Yeah, he's really excited about.
Maybe the danger was inside him all along.
It's really the friends we made.
I am the danger.
I am the danger.
That's trying to say.
You know,
So
Rachel,
Vance kept doing these Jim Halpert looks to the camera.
He was being a real Jim, and it was hilarious. I loved it.
you know, it's weird because I saw Rachel Maddow's take on it, which I almost regret that I saw this. But she really thought that Tim Walz won the debate. But even Democrats are saying that he didn't win. So I think it's insane that they can look at this debate and they can still come away with it with their massive bias. They can't look at it objectively at all.
Yeah. There's a Twitter account called Kamalas Wins, which I'm not entirely convinced it's real. It might be satire, but they right after the debate, they posted this graphic, Tim Walz wins. Like, no, what?
It was funny. The official Democrat account posted that like winner of the debate, and then someone immediately replied with their tweet from when Biden and Trump debated, and had the same thing with Biden, saying the winner of the debate, which is like he dropped out right after that.
Yeah.
It's like
so
just
good.
clear.
That's true.
It's okay. So the moderators said at the beginning they would give time to the candidates to fact check their opponents, but they started fact checking Vance, and he became the Watchman, and he began fact checking the fact checkers.
Are we going to watch this?
Is that what the Watchman is? I've never seen the Watchman.
Yeah, the Watchman is about Rorschach
Okay.
fact checking people.
And just to clarify for our viewers, Springfield, Ohio does have a large number of Haitian migrants who have legal status, temporary protected status.
Margaret,
Nora?
but
Thank you, Senator. We have so much to get to.
Margaret,
Thank you,
I think it's
Nora.
important
We're
because
gonna turn out of the
debate-
economy. Thank
Margaret,
you.
the rules were that
The
you guys weren't
economy,
going to
we're-
fact check, and since you're fact checking me, I think it's important to say what's actually going on. So there's an application called the CBP One app, where you can go on as an illegal migrant, apply for asylum or apply for parole, and be granted legal status at the wave of a Kamala Harris open border wall. That is not a person coming in, applying for a green card and waiting for 10 years. That is the facilitation of illegal immigration, Margaret, by our own leadership.
Thank you, Senator, for describing the legal process. We have so much to get to, Senator.
Those laws have been on the books since 1990.
Thank you, gentlemen.
The
we want to have.
CBP-1 app has not been on the books since 1990. It's something that
turn off his microphone.
Gentlemen, the audience can't hear you because your mics are cut.
Wow.
She's been so smug about it too.
She's like so smug. Oh my gosh.
I love how she kept trying to ignore him. I love how the other lady kept trying to interrupt him. It's just infuriating watching these women do this.
And it just shows how ridiculous the format in the other debate was with Biden and Kamala, where they were like fact checking him and they're responding to him.
Yeah.
And you're like, dude, what are you doing? Like,
right.
It's so insane.
I know. So yeah, other than the moderators, I mean, it was a pretty normal debate, but the moderators, they weren't as bad as the Kamala Trump debate, but they were pretty bad.
I just don't understand. Like, that's not the format of a debate. Like, your moderators aren't supposed to be arguing.
They don't participate.
Like, they're supposed to keep it on track and keep you on time and all that, but they're not supposed to like respond. Well, actually,
yeah,
this is so insane.
Facilitate.
Just to clarify, there are some actual legal Haitian immigrants. Like, and
okay, wait, hang on. Let me explain. You can't just say that in response to it.
That's right.
So before the mods moved on from asking Vance whether he agreed with Trump's comments one time when he said climate change was a hoax, the moderator snuck in one last comment. The overwhelming consensus from scientists is that the Earth is warming at an unprecedented rate. So they had to sneak that in there. Just so you know, viewers, the climate change is real. No matter what he says, climate change is real.
Now continue.
And Vance masterfully pivoted on this question, saying, in effect, if you want cleaner water and air and less carbon, then you want American manufacturing back, because we have the cleanest economy in the world. Why would you import stuff from China and India? China. That's how he said it. When they have the absolute worst record when it comes to pollution and such. You want American energy production. So,
China.
And I actually really like that point, because whatever you think about climate change, you talk to people that believe in climate change, people on the far left that believe in climate change. It's like, we can debate all day. Is it human? Is it man-made? And is it not? Whatever. What can we all just agree? Let's move to nuclear power.
Yeah.
Can we all just agree on that? Like, because if climate change is real, then that will help solve the problem.
Yeah.
If climate change isn't real, it still gives us very efficient energy.
Right.
At a very low cost that lasts forever.
Yeah. And
it's cool.
And it's still, I mean, clean air is still good. You know,
and it's still nice to have clean air.
Clean air
like,
is good.
Regardless of climate change. Can we all just say that, like, do this? But they don't want nuclear. They want to burn the economy down.
But they also, the people really contributing to climate change are the people that are in poverty around the world. And so in order to get people out of poverty, you have to use fossil fuels.
Right, yeah, and that's part of it. It's like, and that's where there's a legitimate disagreement, because they wanted to say, no fossil fuels for those people.
It's like, but they need to care about the environment. Yeah. The only way they're going to care about the environment is if they're not worried about whether or not they can feed their families.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good point. That's why the only solution is nuclear fusion, which doesn't exist.
Fission.
Fission.
I watched The Saint.
Yeah. Oh man, that movie's so good.
It's so good, dude. It actually doesn't hold up at all. Like, if you watched it recently, it's Elizabeth Shue's great.
So here's one of my favorite. Waltz said that he was at the Tiananmen Square incident, and he actually wasn't. And so they actually asked him about that, which props to the moderators for asking him. And he said,
"Why'd you lie about that?"
I grew up in small rural Nebraska. A town of 400, a town where you'd ride your bike with your buddies into the street. What do you? How do you get off starting with that? And I love that Kamala keeps doing this. I was born in a middle class home, and now they've upgraded to small town. We're pulling out
where
the
people
big
ride
guns.
bikes. Yeah. So he talks for like a minute straight, doesn't answer the question,
and then he says, "And I'm a knucklehead."
Yeah, I'm a knucklehead. Yeah,
I'm a knucklehead.
They find and kudos to them. They actually follow up and they go, to clarify, the question was, and he's forced to answer it. It's pretty great.
Yeah, and he just says, I was mistaken, and that's what I've said. It's like, no, that's not what you said. You said you were there.
So, who wins the battle box?
Well,
Tim Walz, obviously.
I'm going to go with Tim Walz.
Whoa.
Well, I wasn't going to go with him, but then he said he grew up in a small town.
Oh, you got a point. You got a point. Where did J.D. Vance grow up?
He's just like
some
me.
mansion. Oh wait, he was a hillbilly.
Then he was, J.D. Vance couldn't even afford a bike.
Yeah. Oh. I guess I'm I'll be the only logical person here and choose JD Vance. But I guess since you both chose Tim Walz, JD Vance is now dead.
Well, just remember that Tim Walz had to debate under duress. He was very scared the whole time.
He was close to danger.
He was close to danger. He had a fight or flight mechanism.
Oh, yeah.
I actually do think he had that, though. I think he was terrified.
Oh, yeah.
You could see it on his face, and he had so much anxiety, and he was overly prepared, and he had all these talking points that he never hit, and JD Vance was just really great.
I think my favorite part of the debate was JD Vance basically saying, yeah, you have a hard job, Tim Walz, because, you have to lie a bunch and say that Kamala's great.
I'm sorry, man.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That's rough.
That's rough, dude.
And, in spite of it all, they shook hands at the beginning, they shook hands at the end, and they talked. They clearly had a banter between them off the mics. And
was it like one of those things where they're smiling and they're like, I hate you guts. I hope
probably. But Kamala and Trump, they just walked away. They didn't
shake.
They didn't
it
shake
did
hands
seem
or
like
anything.
JD Vance. He said he would support Tim Walz if he lost. So that was the other thing.
He said he
goes,
would pray
if
for
I don't
him.
win, I'll pray for you. I'll support you.
And Tim Walz looked shocked, oh, well, thank you.
The other interesting thing too
I've
is
heard
that
different things about you.
The media tried to paint Vance as this far right freak. What a weirdo! He's he's so weird. And then he comes out here and he's smart, he's intelligent, he's colloquial-ish.
Yeah,
that's a word.
You could probably say it correctly.
Yeah. Well, I don't even think you would describe someone as colloquial. So
that'd be like a colloquialism.
What's the word I'm looking for? He's affable.
Articulate.
He's affable.
I was going to say affable.
He's kind.
He's affable.
Yeah, he's a nice
affable.
guy.
Hey guys, if you listen to the podcast, you know that I'm a nerd. And you know that as a nerd, I like to play board games. I've got hundreds of board games. Monopoly. Actually, I don't own Monopoly. I only own good games. And I'm here to tell you about a good one. Deliverance. Deliverance is the highest rated Christian board game ever made. You're like, Christian board game? What? Is this like some Bible trivia thing where you're quizzing people on who was David's fourth generation nephew that was attacked by the Philistines in 1400 BC? No. This is good and fun. The whole thing is that you and 4 friends are going to take on the role of an elite angel in heaven's army, and you vanquish demons in tactical combat while delivering saints from oppression. It's a Christian game, unashamedly Christian, but it's fun, tactical combat, and it's not preachy. And guess what? It's actually a real challenge. You think it's going to be easy just because it's some Christian game and you're playing as the good guys? Think again. It's an interesting game, great mechanics, it's innovative, and it comes without all the problems of getting people to play without having to force them to play. They're actually going to want to play. Spiritual warfare is a serious topic, and Deliverance takes it seriously and does well to respect the lore of the Bible. The game is really fun, and it's actually a pretty cool conversation starter. There's some scripture references on the cards as you're playing, and it's a good time. If you're a board gamer or want to get a truly unique gift for that gamer in your life, click the link in the show notes or visit Kickstarter and look up Deliverance, the board game. Don't get Deliverance, the movie. Not the same thing. Definitely not Christian. You want the board game. Pre-order or back Deliverance on Kickstarter and get up to $90 off on retail prices today. You're not going to regret it. I personally endorse it. They didn't even have to pay me, but they did. But they didn't have to. They could have saved a lot of money by just saying, hey, Kyle, will you endorse this? I would have said, sure. It's a great game. It's fun. But they're fools. Speaking of affable, Israel got hit by 181 Iranian missiles after Israel basically killed all of Hezbollah's leadership. And it may not matter who won the battle box because World War III appears to be on the horizon.
I don't know. I think my opinion of this is that Iran did the stupidest thing they could have done, which is shoot at a bunch of civilian targets, miss everybody, and wake up the IDF and say it's open season on Iran. Mm-hmm. The IDF is now planning for a response. So any kind of nuclear program they had is not going to happen. They're going to go after every military installation and energy infrastructure thing.
And they should.
And they absolutely should.
Attack them. Yeah.
It's always part of the plan, though.
It's stupid.
Because they know they have all the media in their pocket where they can sit there and drop all these rockets and then and then Israel retaliates, and it's like, oh,
It's Israel.
they retaliated, and
Yeah, because they issued a statement after the attack, and they said, "Oh, we have fulfilled our justice because of the recent attacks in Lebanon. We are done. It's all done."
Yeah.
And now when they retaliate, it'll be like, "Oh yeah, you're starting a war now."
I may be a bit of a heretic in that I'm not always of the opinion that Israel is 100% in the right. Like, I'm not of the belief that like we have to always, Israel is the 51st state of America and we have to go defend them all the time. Especially, I don't think we should be funding foreign wars, and I don't think we should be out there intervening in these other countries most of the time. At the same time, you look at the most insane things that the countries surrounding Israel do, and it's like, clearly there's one side that's a little more on the evil side of this thing. I don't know.
Totally. Well, there's a difference between Arabs, Palestinians, and Islamists. And the Islamists are the ones that are in charge in Iran. They're in charge in Gaza and the West Bank. And the Islamists clearly want to destroy the Jews in Israel and the state of Israel. But that's not true for everybody in the region. It's just the Islamists. They happen to be in charge. And so, I don't know. You gotta clean house. And I don't know. I think that they're going to send Iran back to the Stone Age. That's what I think that's going to happen.
Iran's already in the Stone Age.
Well, you're right.
What's before the Stone Age?
Stone Age with
like
nuclear
the
power.
Pliocene,
Yeah.
Oh no, they're going to send him back to Eden.
What if they send him back to the Jurassic Age?
The Jurassic,
and then
the Jurassic period.
Oh no, dinosaurs. Now they have dinosaurs.
Well, any kind of military that Iran has, any kind of whatever, that's what they're going to go after.
And it's like primarily, I guess to clarify, like primarily, the Jews just called me and said I had to recant. But I mean, primarily, it's about America's involvement to me. Like, I don't think we need to be sending billions of dollars.
You're not an interventionist.
Yeah, and I sit there and I pray for Israel and look at it and say, like, clearly they're under attack at this particular point of the conflict or whatever. And obviously, like, the October 7th stuff that happened a year ago, it's like you can look at that and say that's evil, you know?
Yeah, I think I kind of side with you. I think we live in a modern society where we have fast communication, we have alliances with other countries. So when you have an official alliance, I think there's some sort of obligation to help out.
Yeah, but I don't think we should have those alliances.
Well, yeah, that's fair. If we didn't have it,
I would say if Israel was if Israel was under real threat and it was, Israel's going to be destroyed if we don't intervene, I would say that's probably a good reason to intervene. It's almost like World War II.
Like, why do we have to stop an invasion on Israel?
Well, because Israel's the only point of sanity in the entire Middle East, and it's the only Jewish state.
But why do we care about the Middle East?
Why? Well, I think we care about the people that are trying to live in a free society there.
Okay.
Don't you think? I mean,
I think.
But again, you look at a lot of the reason any of those Arab nations are even armed is because we went over there and gave them weapons.
Yeah.
I agree with that too.
We need to just
we've created
this.
If Israel said, "Hey, United States, help us," we're about to be destroyed. Iran's going to drop a nuclear bomb on us if we don't.
Yeah, but I think we also don't really need to help Israel because they're handling this.
That's
all
what
on
I'm
their
saying
own.
too.
So we just need to get out of the way.
Yeah, Israel's doing just fine. Seems like
we have
they're doing
Wonder
fine.
Woman, and we have that guy that's pretending to be Captain America, but he doesn't even have superpowers.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, he doesn't even have the
Sam, whatever.
super serum or
I don't know. What's his name? Sam?
he's the Falcon.
The Falcon, yeah.
The Falcon.
I don't remember what his name is in the thing. But anyway, yeah, because I was seeing some of that stuff from the Disney show, and I'm like, but he doesn't have... Did they make that a plot point in the show that he gets injected?
He doesn't have...
No, in the show, they even say, would you take it if it was offered to you? And he goes, no.
Okay.
And it's like, oh, okay. And then someone else gets it, spoilers, and he turns evil.
Oh, and it's the kind of like faux Captain
Kurt Russell's
America.
son.
Yeah, he's a great actor.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think right now, Iran, this was a total misstep. If they wanted to get a nuclear bomb, which everyone says that they were a year away from getting a nuclear bomb, that's not going to happen. I think that Israel now has free reign to go in there.
But if we want to go back in time, if you will, to a point where this is really relevant, where France was our ally in the Revolutionary War, and they came over and helped us because they hated England.
Yeah.
And then
Lafayette.
And then we got independence, and then France was like, "Hey, help us with our war." And George Washington was like, We can't afford that. We can't do that. I'm sorry. And it was a strain on the relationship, but it's relevant. Ukraine, Israel needs support or wants support. We can't really help right now.
We don't have any money.
We don't have any money.
Also,
It's like they come up to us at the gas station and we're filling up our tank. And they're like, hey, man.
Hey, I just need a quarter to get the bus ride home.
Like, oh, the buses. And you're like, dude, you're here every day. Like,
I know.
I know what you're doing.
Come on, Israel.
Hey, Ukraine, I know you're just buying drugs.
Hey, listen, I know that...
I know you're just getting a Bud Light. Like,
hey, France, I know you gave us that statue, but it wasn't worth as much money as it's going to take to fight this war.
So if we put our own house in order, then we can be in a position to help our allies.
But also
when they need it, instead of straining everybody.
The French war is interesting because it's a really weird war, and it was really hard to tell who the good guys were.
Because of Les Miserables?
Mostly, yeah, because of Jean Valjean.
Start at the beginning.
I don't know. It was a strange war.
I don't know.
I don't know the first song.
I don't know any of like
the shift from the monarchy.
I dreamed a dream.
That's the first song.
No, is that right? That's not Les Mis. That's not Les Mis.
I don't know.
Yeah, I dreamed a dream.
What do you think? I have no idea of any music.
2, 4, 6, 1.
Well, none.
And
life is in her. Tomorrow will be further
and that's
you know
when they called us Les Miserables. I pray for the innocents and hope that God gives them the right to defend themselves in that conflict.
I'll do you one better. I pray for the enemies also.
And wow,
for
look
their
at
heart
this
to
guy.
change.
I'll do you one better. I'll pray for the people who are supporting the enemies and the innocents.
Whoa. Okay.
I pray for the enemies of our enemies.
Pray for the enemies.
Whoa. No, but seriously, I hope, one day Christ will return and there will be no more war, and that will be wonderful. Yeah.
That'll be great.
All right, Evangelicals for Harris. Ray Ortland on Threads, I think this is. Or is this Blue Sky or Threads? I think it's just Threads.
I'm sorry, I have to interrupt really quick. you ended on such a good note with one day Christ will return and there'll be no wars. But the way you said it was like, there'll be no wars. It sounded so depressing.
There'll be no.
It was a longing
for war.
Should I try the performance again? One day Christ will come, and in that day there will be no more war.
Okay, now do it again. Imagine you just lost.
Okay.
Your dog.
Oh,
I don't like dogs.
Oh,
imagine you were the color blue. Go.
One day.
Okay. Do it again.
So Ray Ortland
with emotion
on Threads tweeted, "Never Trump. This time Harris. Always Jesus."
I agree with the last part.
And then David French replied,
"This is the way.
This is the way." Mm. And then Ray Ortland said, "I have deleted a post from earlier today because it was being misinterpreted. I should have foreseen it. My fault."
He's referring to that post?
I guess. But
what's misinterpreted about that?
What's misinterpreted?
Seems very clear.
You said, I'm never going to vote for Trump. I've never voted for Trump. This time I'm voting for Harris. And I'm always supporting Jesus. Or I'm always with
Maybe the misinterpretation is that it's just a poem.
Yeah, maybe it's not. People thought it was a haiku.
Yeah, it's not a good.
And everyone's like, "This isn't a haiku."
So, like, this
do you even know what a haiku is?
Like, wishy-washy mainstream evangelicals sitting there saying you should vote for Harris, and I understand people being hesitant to vote for Trump. I get it, and I get if that's the what God puts in your conscience. I don't understand any Christian voting for Harris.
Yeah,
I don't understand the argument for that.
Well. And the way that these guys couch everything is if you're a Christian, you can't engage in the culture war.
Right.
And in order to do that, in order to say these things, they're engaging in the culture war.
Mm-hmm.
So they're
here's what Phil Vischer said about it on the Holy Post. He said, you cannot follow the Sermon on the Mount and engage in a culture war. That wasn't him. That was Pastor Mike Ayer on the podcast. And then Vischer said there are a whole bunch of other ways that you could make a point that you disagree with DEI programs other than making fun of the people who promote them for money. Speaking of Matt Walsh's Matt Walsh.
Oh, Matt Walsh, yeah.
Yeah. So then this guy Jathani says that the Republicans Christian Republicans are warning you about all this bad stuff that's happening. These are things that are being told to people. If everything's on the line, then it justifies abandoning the way of Jesus in order to do what's necessary to save yourself and those you love. So they're mocking this idea that we use politics to engage in the culture war.
Mm-hmm. So abandoning the ways of Jesus by doing that thing. They're embracing Jesus by murdering children.
Well, it's just the way that they're like, we're taking the high road and not engaging in the culture war. Yeah. Vote for Kamala. Vote for Kamala Harris. It's like I don't you're not above it. You're not above it if you sit there and just say, "Oh, we don't engage in the culture." Yeah, you are. That's the culture war.
I don't like how conservatives are bickering amongst themselves about you need to vote for Trump. You need to get because you know what? God chooses the leaders. God's in control. God's will is going to happen. And I'm not saying don't vote. I'm just saying if David French wants to throw his vote away, I don't really care.
Yeah, it doesn't matter to me either. I just think they shouldn't be trying to influence. If they are saying don't engage in the culture war, stop trying to influence people to engage in the culture war or engage in the culture.
Just go ahead.
Withdraw.
Throw your vote away.
Thank you.
And Matt Walsh has a good response. You guys should go check it out. He challenged the Holy Post guys to make something that moves the needle in the culture at all. What part of the Sermon on the Mount requires us to surrender to evil?
I like that.
I know it's different philosophies, and I know Christians fall on different sides of it. But I don't get the idea of completely judging the other side for engaging in the culture war. And if God, I know there's people that just don't have that disposition, and they don't feel called to sit there and engage in politics. That's my natural disposition. I don't like talking politics. I'd rather play a board game or something. But God sometimes calls us to do those things we're not comfortable with, and I think it's okay if that's not your calling. But I'm not going to judge you for that. And so for the other side to judge people that do engage in the culture war, I think that's stupid.
Yeah.
And then here's our Matt Squalsh article.
By engaging in the culture war, by the way.
It's like they are trying to influence the culture. So anyway. And then, of course, you guys can take another look at our Matt Squalsh article.
It's so good.
I love that.
I'm in danger. I'm in danger. Danger is near me.
For our audio-only listeners, Jarrett looks just like Tim Walz.
Banger of the week.
All right, here's our banger of the week. Exploding restaurant buzzer takes out Hezbollah party of 6.
Pun intended?
What's the pun?
Banger?
Oh, banger. Yeah, that's the pun.
Gosh, that's funny.
Yeah, I intended that.
That is really funny.
Oh, man. And then, Iran sent a bunch of missiles at Israel, and here we are.
It's a good chop.
Here's our bomb of the week, pun intended.
Bomb of the week.
Disturbing WNBA fans heard yelling ugly racial slurs such as "Go Caitlin." So there's actually an article that was published about one of Caitlin Clark's games in Indiana, and they said, and this liberal, I don't know if this is a person of color or whatever, but this liberal reporter was like, every cheer for Caitlin felt like a threat.
Oh, interesting. So I saw that headline and I was like, I don't get it. What's happening here? So that's interesting to know that.
This whole Caitlin Clark thing is really. Have you guys been following it much?
Yeah, I
have not.
I haven't watched any games.
I haven't watched the game either, but I've seen the clips, and she's interesting.
Good, man. She's pretty dang good.
She is so good, and it makes you want to watch women's basketball.
I wouldn't go that far.
I mean, watch her. She's great.
It is interesting.
I've seen some clips. Yeah,
but I also think the racism.
I've taped every game. I've taped every game of the season.
The freedom for them. They're just allowing these women to be totally racist.
Yeah.
Against Caitlin Clark, and it's like an accepted thing in the culture of women's NBA, and I think it's a really interesting example of. I mean, maybe this will be the end of it. Maybe she'll go there. She'll keep her mouth shut and everything else.
Well, speaking of the end of it, we've come to the end of our podcast.
Okay.
So, guys, go to babylonbee.com/plans and sign up. We're building some fun things at the Babylon Bee. You don't want to be left behind. You're going to be able to join our community, become a member, see exclusive content like our new movie.
January 6th, the most deadliest day.
So you can sign up at babylonbee.com/January 6th. Use code podcast, and you get some money back, money off. Discount, percentage off. That's pretty cool.
It's not a bribe.
It's not a bribe. That's illegal. And if you do sign up, you'll get to immediately join us here in the subscriber lounge. Here we go.